What did I watch? Yes. Okay. So as you know, last week when we were talking about Lord of the Rings, we were talking about The Hobbit, and we were talking about how the fact I had been about an hour and a half into the first The Hobbit movie, and now I can safely say that I've watched all 3 of the Hobbit movies. And here's what I gotta say. I know everyone's mad at them or something. These are fun little movies. And when I say little, I mean they're 12 hours of content.
Right.
I watched all of them suckers. And, do I care? No. Is there an abundance of CGI to the point where nothing matters? Of course. Are all of the characters confusing to me because they all look the same, act the same, have the same type of name? Thorin Dokeshield, and over here is Balin of Graben, and there over there is Baelor of Mabor.
Baelor of Mabor has been shot, my master.
No!
With a Glock 47.
No! I will rain hell down upon the Azoth of the acreage, and he will know my furious blade.
Maybe an evening star.
It's also funny because it's basically the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that they're trying to get corrupts the guy, makes him mad. And
well,
like,
maybe you're finding your cracks in the J.R.R. Tolkien brain.
Yeah.
And then I write a story about how there's a little ring.
And I'm like, bend over. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, yep, there's the crack.
Yeah, well, there's one ring to rule them all.
But what's interesting is I did find myself enjoying it for the most part. There was one... Here's where and I know we've all talked about these movies already. I'm late to the party, but indulge me, won't you?
Like a fine bundt cake. Just let me indulge myself, won't you?
Here's how you know the CGI went too far. There are dwarves, and this is not
so good.
These are played by men, real men. The main dwarf, Thorin Oakenshield, and his band of merry fellows that are introduced to us in the first movie for about 30 minutes. Each of them shows up to little bag boy's house, and we watch them eat all of his food, and they're playing around, they're dinking around in his house, and you're like, get on with it! And then by the end, you're like, where are all these guys? None of them are talking anymore. No one's saying anything. Anyway, that's beside the point.
They do the dishes. They sing a song.
By the time that the 5 armies show up in the Battle of the 5 Armies, and you simply must ask yourself, where do they keep these armies? And then you turn to yourself in the mirror and you say, in their sleeveys. And then the dwarf army shows up, and they're like, it's my cousin, Dinkelberg. He's the leader of the dwarf army. He'll show up and he'll give us righteous glory and victory in this battle. He shows up on a little wild hog. Literally, it's a little pig.
Yeah.
He is a CGI man. Why do they do that? And then he has a heart-to-heart with the main guy who's the same race. They're dwarves. They're cousins.
Yeah.
Thorin and Dork meet each other on the battlefield, and he's like, I'm glad you're here to help us, Dork. And he's like, I'm glad I'm here too, Thorin. and he's CGI. Why would you do that? What's the point of that? Why? That's the only question I have. Otherwise...
That's it?
I mean, the whole thing was obviously... Everyone's talked about it. It's one book that's like 300 pages. It doesn't need to be 3 movies. Blah, blah, blah.
I didn't say that. Maybe with a little time, a little distance from when these movies came out, we can all revisit them and as the little fun summer blockbusters they are.
That's what they are. And, a lot of the time, like, they're all just... The first 2 are chase movies. They're just being chased for 3 hours, and you're like... You're almost exhausted at the end. You're like... I don't know if I can watch 3 more hours of this, and then you turn it on and you just drool falls out of your mouth as you continue watching it.
I saw Battle of the Five Armies in 3D, and that was
my God.
too much. It was like 3.5 hours,
Yeah.
and I couldn't see when I left the theater.
It's so long, and it is just an action sequence, basically in the entire time.
I think I went and I had to find, I was like, where's the theater? Because he was doing the thing where he's like, this one's in high.
Right,
It's
48 frames per second.
So it's 48 FPS with the glasses, and it's supposed to, whatever. I had to find some stupid theater that was doing that.
That has to look so weird.
With the glasses on, fine. It helped. If you take the glasses off, it looks like you're watching a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's like when your TV is like when you go to a restaurant and they haven't changed the settings on the TV.
Yeah, they
so
have
like
motion
Dumb and Dumber
smoothing
looks
on.
like it's a live
Yeah.
it's a play. it was that. So it just looked like there's Dumbledore the Gray walking down the street of like everything looked like a set.
Yeah.
I just kept taking them off every now and then just to see. Like it was like looking through the cracks of the facade of the J.R.R. Tolkien
You were
world.
looking at the screen and saying bend over, and the screen said yes, and you said there's a crack.
And I went with my mom, and she kept telling me, she was like, stop. Because I kept lifting my glasses up and yelling, bend over.
Yeah, I
Just
love that.
In the middle of the movie, bend over!
And then the guy in the front row says, stop calling my name. My name's Ben Dover Johnson.
Chompston. I use Chompston for like all my delivery stuff now.
Yeah. Well, it gets it here faster, and they don't have those fascists running the company.
No. They don't have the fascists running the country.
Company. Not the country.
Whatever, man.
Well, that too.
And what is America? But so Disney's a company, but America's not. Okay. No, I believe you.
No, sure, whatever you say.
So Disney's a company, but America's a country. Okay, that makes sense. What is that? He fixed it.
Yeah, it is that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I'll just silence that throughout the
Our
episode.
guests will be taking kind of advantage of that.
So here's the deal. Then I said, you know what? I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings proper in quite some time. I'll throw those on. A million times better,
Yeah.
obviously. Everything looks real.
Better.
Everything looks amazing. You're like, how did they pull this off? Of course, there are some dated things where it's like, this looks funny, but it's beautiful. It looks incredible. The story is obviously the right one. If you're gonna pick a story to tell, it's this one, not the Hobbit one. But I enjoyed that. That's what I'm saying. I enjoyed all the Hobbit movies, actually, because for one, I don't care. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fanboy. I was just sitting down to pass the time before I fade away into the abyss of this, this empty life I lead.
Yeah, now you sound like a real Silmarillion.
What'd you watch, buddy?
Did you watch the new show yet?
No. Well, okay, here's how this whole thing started.
Because isn't that the point?
I sat my white little ass down and listened. and I said, you can't have elves that look like that. No. I turned it on and I said, within the first couple minutes, I was like, I'm sure that this is a reference to something, but I have no context for what. Because it's been years since I've seen these movies. Because the lady is Galadriel.
Right.
The freaking beautiful white lady from the other ones.
Oh.
And I mean white because she's pale.
Isolate that.
I mean white because she's so pale.
Yeah.
She's the color white, not her skin.
Isolate that.
And so I was like, I'm sure that this will all mean more to me if I know what any of these people are.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. Now hearing about how everyone hates the show regardless, no, I'm still going to check it out. I'm sure it's pretty cool. It looked great. The 10 minutes that I watched was pretty cool. I'll get around to it. There's too much stuff going on.